This past weekend, I felt like putting on a whole face of Chanel. I don't know, I just woke up in that mood and I went through my collection and I realized that I was missing like huge categories in terms of Chanel. And then I was recalling that I did a massive declutter last Mishmas, last December. And, I have so much makeup. I didn't take the time to kind of go through what I had left over, like the aftermath of this gigantic declutter, and kind of fill back in like holes and stuff, like favorites that maybe have gone off, favorites that basically I panned or whatever. So I wanted to talk about my Chanel collection because I was going through it and I was just, like running through thoughts in my head. And I thought, why don't I share it with you guys? Why don't we kind of like just talk through it together? So this, I don't know, may or may not be a long video. I don't know. You'll know actually by the time I upload this, you'll see the timestamp. But yeah, I just want to talk about my collection. I wanted to talk about maybe some things that I recall. I want to talk about Chanel makeup in general. Just have kind of like a nice chit-chatty conversation about Chanel makeup. I know it's one of your favorite brands. Every time I put up a Chanel video, you guys always, click on it. It always gets really good views, and I get it. I love Chanel makeup. I do love Chanel as a whole. So why don't we go ahead and start with what I have for primers. And I'm going to be putting on some of this stuff because I don't have any makeup on right now. And the primer that I like to reach for in terms of Chanel is their Red Camellia Skin Enhancer in Soft Pink, which is part of their #1 Day Chanel line. So I'm going to start with this. This is not a new product, but it is relatively new to me. It was something I just never picked up when it was released, probably, I don't know, almost 2 years ago at this point, and I got this maybe a few months ago. I really love this whole #1 Day Chanel line. I love the foundation. I love this product. They had a serum. I used that for a little while. Very nice. And so I've been really impressed with this #1 line. Look how beautiful that glow is. And I believe there's 3 shades to this, but I'm going to be referring to the Chanel website throughout this video to see if there's anything in each of the categories that I'm talking about, like anything that I need to pick up. Okay, so the first one they have listed is this skin enhancer. There's actually 3 different shades. This one is the lightest. And then Le Blanc de Chanel. This one I had a years and years ago, and I remember that it left actually too much of a white cast on my face, and I'm pale, so I'm not exactly sure who this is for, or maybe I was using it incorrectly. Maybe I put too much on, or the foundation that I wear maybe is a little bit too light coverage. So the whiteness of that base really came through. Oh, and oh look, it's sold out. So I guess it's either very popular or there's discontinuing it soon. There's also a La Base Illuminatrice. This is a glowing makeup primer, moisturizing and plumping. And this product I wasn't even aware of. But this sounds actually perfect for my skin type. I have very dry skin. I really do like moisturizing, plumping, glowy type of bases. So this is really interesting. And then they also have basically the same idea, but to mattify your skin. That is not ideally for me. But if you have oily skin, I would imagine that's who that product is for. And then, they have something from their Sublimage skin line, which is the Ultimate Radiance Enhancing Priming Moisturizer. Why are there 3 bottles? Oh, those are refills. Ooh, this looks really interesting. So this has little like glowy bits in there. Has anyone out there tried this? The Ultimate Radiance Enhancing Priming Moisturizer from their Sublimage line. I've never really gotten into Chanel skincare, so I think this has always just eluded me, but let me know if you've tried this because this looks very interesting. So those are all the primers that they have on the Chanel site. I have one other primer, and this was something that I purchased at an airport when I was traveling in Europe because this had sold out in the US and I really wanted to try it. It's the La Beige Healthy Winter Glow Primer, Moisturizing and Protective. I think I got this at the Copenhagen Denmark airport. So I think this was more than a year ago. So a year ago, this past like February, and I got the shade Icy Beige. So this is the one that I think was the lightest. I think they had a deeper shade. Anyway, I ended up getting this and I never used it. This was actually still in its box that I just tossed away, the box I tossed away. But this has a really nice glowy tint to it. And I wonder if that sublimage would be a really nice kind of substitute for this limited edition product. And that is definitely something that, I don't know, I both love and hate about Chanel. When it comes to limited edition products, they are probably one of the few beauty brands that mean it. That if it's limited edition, it will be here and then it will be gone, and it will be gone forever. So if you want it, you definitely need to jump on it. But it's rare. I do feel like a lot of makeup companies, and I've said this before, a lot of makeup companies use the general population as like beta testing. They'll release something and be like, it's limited edition. And if it does well, they're like, oh, maybe not. So it's commendable. I think that Chanel really sticks to their guns, but it's also very, very frustrating for the consumers if you do miss out on a release. Foundations. Okay. Now this is when I was like, okay, I need to take stock of my Chanel collection because I don't have any more of their foundations. And I think I've tried probably all of them. So let's just go through them quickly, like what the offerings are, because I do, after making this video, I do want to go to a Chanel counter and like purchase all the things that I wanted to repurchase when I did my declutter, or things that seem really interesting on the site. Okay, the Le Beige Water Fresh Complexion Touch. Now, this is not the Water Fresh tint. This is the one that has like a little bit more pigmentation. I was not the biggest fan of this. I just didn't think it blended out as well as the Water Fresh tint, which I actually really, really love. That product I actually finished. And so I just, got rid of it. I've been meaning to replace it. I just haven't. And this was such an interesting product. I remember when it first came out. It just is perfect for the warmer months. So this is definitely something I think I'm going to run out and repurchase. The shade that I used, I remember, was light medium. Oh, medium light. That's right. It had a very weird shade name. So it's medium light. It's not light medium. It's medium light. And that's the shade that I used. But I am just getting paler and paler. So I may actually get light. I may actually pick up light. Anyway, I'm going to go to the counter, instead of doing online shopping, which I normally do, and like test stuff out because I just keep getting paler and paler. So anyway, I don't have any of these foundations. This was definitely one that I tossed because I was like pretty much done with it. And I was like, you know what? I've had this since they released it. So I just tossed it out. Okay. So that's a Water Fresh tint and also the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. They also have the Ultra Wear All Day Comfort Flawless Finish. I do not think I've ever tried this. I think whenever anything says all day comfort wear, that usually means it has a more matte finish. And I usually stay away from those, again, because I have dry skin. Yeah, this controls shine, evens out the look, blah, blah, blah. Luminous matte finish. So I think I'm going to stay away from that one. But for those of you out there with dry skin, will you please let me know what you think about that one? Because it could be very dry skin friendly. And then Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation, Hydration, and Longwear, part of the Le Beige line. This I remember trying. I remember really liking it, but I didn't love it. I felt like, and if I'm remembering correctly, because it has been a while, but I felt like it kind of like sat on my skin. It didn't really like meld with my skin. I didn't feel like, I don't know, I didn't feel like it really did much for my complexion other than the pigmentation, other than it just sort of doing a cover up. But I know many of you love this foundation. I remember when I posted a video about this, many of you commented that it's like your favorite Chanel foundation. And I really did like it. I really liked, there was no reason for me, other than having a gazillion foundations, there was no reason for me not to use it. It just wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite from Chanel because the #1 de Chanel, I found that one to actually be nicer. And it just, it like really made my skin look soft and smooth. The level of pigmentation was spot on. It was really, really perfect. And so I definitely want to repurchase that one. So far we're going to be repurchasing the Water Fresh tint, because that's just so great. It's so light. It's so great. And I remember Alana Davison, she used it as a primer. Like that's how light it was. But I really like a light coverage, so it's perfect for me. And then this #1 de Chanel Revitalizing Foundation. And I'll probably get a lighter shade. I always, usually in Chanel, I wear like 20 or B20 or 20B or 20 beige, whatever iteration that is. But I may go down to, they have a BR12, a B10. So again, if I go to the counter, I think I'll be able to tell better because Yeah, I'm just getting paler. So that is definitely one that I want to repurchase. And then the Sublimage L'Essence Détente, I think that's how it's pronounced. I did try that as well. And I really liked that foundation too. I didn't think, I don't know, I didn't think it was as special as I wanted it to be. It was very nice. It was very nice, but it is, I think, their like foundation version of skincare, and it felt really nice. I remember it being like perfect for my dry skin, but it just wasn't, I don't know, it just didn't have that magic to it, at least not for me. It didn't have that magic to it. I still really, in terms of foundations, the number one de Chanel is still my favorite. And then the Sublimage Latent, the Ultimate Radiance Generating Cream. That one is okay, but I remember kind of mentally comparing that to the Clé de Peau, their foundation cream. That one I like much better than the Sublimage. And then the Vitalumiere Aqua, that I tried a gazillion years ago. That one I felt like the coverage was perfect for me because it was really light. I just didn't like the finish. It was a little bit matte for me. So, and I know it's like water-based and it's supposed to be like kind of fresh or whatever. It just set down really, I don't know, kind of dry on my skin. So that one I'll pass. They have a powder foundation, which I will not use. The Boy de Chanel foundation is foundation, I guess, specifically designed for men. I don't know what the difference would be. And then they have a CC cream, which I really, really enjoyed. And this one, I remember the texture is super creamy. The coverage is a little bit heavier than I thought and that what I normally go for. So while I really liked that one, and it has SPF 50, yeah, it was just like a little bit more like heavy duty makeup than I normally reach for. But I remember really, really liking that. Oh, they're all sold out. Are they getting rid of this too? Possibly, possibly. Okay. And then the Ultra Latent Velvet. That was even more velvety. I did not like that one. And then that's it. So for foundations, I'm going to be getting the Water Fresh Tint and the number one de Chanel. That is what I'll be picking up. And because I don't have any, I have 0 Chanel foundation. Isn't that crazy? I was like, what? How do I not have any Chanel foundation? I was like going through my drawers and like thinking for sure. I was just like missing it in my sea of foundations. Nope. I was like, I guess I just decluttered all of them. All right, next let's talk about concealers, because the Chanel Longwear Color Correct Concealer is one of my favorites. I have the shade, it's like 20 or 20 beige or whatever, 20 beige. It is quite special, actually. It has a really nice kind of gel texture. It's very, very light. The coverage is very decent, but it's not heavy at all. It just wears really, really well. So I'm just gonna apply this since I don't have any foundation. Pretty much just gonna put this all over. And I don't think Chanel has a ton of concealers. So they have this Longwear concealer, and then they have the Longwear, oh, I'm sorry, what did I call this? This is the Longwear concealer. I think before I was calling this the color corrector. It is not the color corrector, but it comes in the same tube. And the color corrector, they have like a peach color basically. So that's great for like dark circles or whatever. And then they have, well, listed on the Chanel site underneath concealers, they have that Water Fresh Complexion Touch. That's like the water tint, but with a little bit more coverage. I think that's interesting that they would put this underneath concealers. Okay. And then they do have the Radiance Generating Concealing Eye Care. This is part of the Sublimage line. It comes in a little jar, comes with like a little brush. I never tried this. I've always been so happy with their Longwear concealer that I was like, I don't need to try that. I'm happy with this one, but I am tempted by that. I think that's definitely something I'm going to look at in store when I go and just see what that's all about. And if it looks, even more flawless or feels even better than this guy. I can't imagine, because this Longwear concealer is really great. But for those of you in the Vegas area, there is a Chanel beauty boutique that just opened up in downtown Summerlin. Because Risa and I were, Risa does makeup here. We were kind of texting about it. She was like, Chanel is opening up at downtown Summerlin. I was like, what? And she was like, oh, it's Chanel Beauty. And I was like, well, that's fine. That's good too. So I haven't made it up there, but I think it's opened. Okay, concealer is applied. I think that's fine. We'll just do like a low maintenance look today. Let's pop over to powders. Okay, I do not have any pressed powders from Chanel, and they actually have some like highlighters and like the face palette listed under here, but I'll talk about those later. So they have a Healthy Glow Sheer Powder. It's the one that comes in the compact. And then they have their Natural Finish Loose Powder. I have shade number 12. I talked about this a lot in my talc-free loose powders video, where I really, really like this powder. I just don't love it because I don't think it does that much for my complexion. I think it sets down makeup beautifully. It definitely mattifies. It definitely brings shine down. But I do feel like I wish there was just a little bit of a softness to it, a little bit more of a blurring to it, which I just don't feel like there is any of that in the Chanel powder. But it's very nice. Like, it does its job. It's a very nice, like, sets your makeup down sort of situation, but it doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't do anything to like the finish of my complexion. And again, with dry skin, like, I need a lot of help. I need like a little bit of creaminess. I need a little bit of blurring. Not a glow per se, but like this, just the softest satin like finish would be really, really helpful. And the Chanel powder just doesn't have that. But I am gonna set down the concealer around my eyes and my nose, and then just brush a little bit on my cheeks here. All right, so that's the powder situation. I do feel the same way about the pressed powders, so I don't feel like I need to pick that up at all. I don't feel like, unless they reformulated it, but I don't think that they have. So I'm gonna skip the pressed powder. I'll just stick with this if I feel like using, you know, a full face of Chanel. I think this is fine. And then, yeah, like I said, they have 2 other products listed on their site underneath powders, but I'll talk about them in like the different categories because one's a highlighter. All right, let's pop over to bronzers. So I don't have a lot of bronzers, if any. I do have this Healthy Glow Sun-Kissed Powder Face Palette. That's this guy. I really do love this face palette. It has basically the Neapolitan ice cream. We've got the strawberry chocolate and vanilla, but we've got the highlighter, the bronzer, and the blush. And this is great if you have my skin tone. It's just very neutral. The powder works really well. And they do have different shades. Let's see, they have 5 altogether. This one is light coral. It's the lightest. And yeah, medium coral, medium rose gold, deep rose gold, and then deep mauve. So yeah, this is the lightest shade. So this is pretty much the only powder bronzer that I have. I've had a lot of, like, again, limited edition Chanel bronzers from past like Le Beige collections, and some of them I really enjoyed. Some of them were a little bit too warm, if I recall, but a lot of them I decluttered because I can't use a lot of that with you guys because you can't get them. If they're limited edition and like the time has passed, and like I said before, they're gone. So I don't really bother like keeping or like holding on to too much of the limited edition stuff unless I personally like love it, love it, love it, and I just know I'm gonna use it to death. But that wasn't the case for a lot of the bronzers. I'm just going through some of my other palettes here. Oh no, well, I just dropped this face palette, and this has like a bronzer type of product in here, and it actually popped out. Oh boy, but this is a really beautiful like baked gel powder. And for my skin tone, this is a really nice like soft bronzer. So I have that as an option. And then I have some stick products. So, or I should say I have one stick product. I have got the Balm Essential in Golden Light. Their Balm Essentials are pretty sheer, so this would also be just very, very light. And then I have Solar Glow, another Balm Essential. This is a little bit more copper. So I've got 2 like bronzing options in terms of the sticks. Oh, I actually had a lovely, lovely subscriber send me a couple of Chanel like limited edition products that I don't even think were available in the US. So I like opened them once like tenderly and then put it back in the box. So this is actually a pressed powder. So I do actually have a pressed powder, but I don't think I would ever use this because let me show you the embossing. It's basically the front of the store. their flagship in Paris. Isn't that so beautiful? And I treasure this. So I'm just going to tuck this away. And then the other product that she sent me actually is a highlighter. So we'll get to that. But I didn't want to not mention this powder to you guys because it is so special and it's such a thoughtful, special gift. So for today, I'm just going to go ahead and use the face palette, use the bronzer in here. There, really blend that out. I've been giving myself like bronzer helmet lately. It's taken a bit for me to blend out. So what options do we have on the Chanel site in terms of bronzers? So we do have the Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. I remember when they reformulated that, everyone was like, nope, this sucks. We like the old formula better. And I remember having the original formula and I really liked it. That one did lean a little bit warm on my skin tone. So it was something that I remember I like left for later on in the season to wear. It wasn't something that I could kind of like bronzer with, but I remember decluttering that because I had that one forever and it was just, you know, it's a cream product, so it didn't last forever. And I just didn't repurchase this new one because everyone was kind of shitting on it. So I don't know. I thought maybe not, but maybe I will. I don't know. And then the other bronzer that they have listed here is their Sheer Healthy Glow Highlighting Fluid in Sunkissed. And this was a product that I did have that I really liked, but it was going off because it is a liquid product and it's lovely. So anyway, I don't know that I will repurchase Sunkissed because, you know, it's like a very shimmery highlight. I mean, it's a highlighting fluid. And for someone with my skin tone, you could use it as a bronzer, but because it's like a highlighter, it's a lot. It's very specific, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I just don't think that I would use it that often. And I have these two Balm Essential sticks, which maybe I will use to layer on top of this. So I'm going to use Golden Light. And I don't know if this is even limited edition. Let me actually go to the Balm Essentials. Actually, the one shade that they still have listed on the Chanel site is Solar Glow, which I believe came out with Moonlight or Moonlight Kiss, which is like my favorite Balm Essential because I can wear that as like a lip product. It's so pretty. So I'll use Solar Glow. And this is the one that's a little bit more copper. Here, let me do a swatch. It's a little bit more copper, but this was pretty warm too. So I'll just swipe a little here. Yeah, and layer it on top of powder products. These balms really, like their pigment really does come out there. So just, sorry, I don't know if the light's catching it. Just a little juiciness added on top of the powder. Okay, so maybe I'll pick up the cream bronzer again. That's such a throwback. I feel like that was such a popular product for so long, then they reformulated and everyone was talking about the reformulation, and now I don't feel like I hear anyone talk about that Chanel cream bronzer. If you are still loving it, this like latest version, please let us know down below in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Okay, blushes. I have a lot of blushes, but I have a lot of Chanel blushes. I do have all of the Waterfresh blushes. I have light peach, light pink, intense coral, and warm pink. And I have not used these in a long time, so I may use these today. I do also have 3 Balm Essential sticks. One is in Rosé, one is in Rouge Frais, F-R-A-I-S, and then one is in Printanier. Let me do some swatches of these guys. Okay, the different levels of pigmentation are so interesting. So that first one is Rosé, this one being the first one. The one in the center is Rouge Frais, or Fraise. And then this one is Printanier. So these are actually, yeah, very, very similar in terms of pigmentation, very light. And then this Rose Fraise is really, really pigmented for one of these Balm Essentials. And then I do have one of their blush sticks. So this is the Le Beige blush number 23. And I think I had all of these. I just had to declutter them. They were getting on in their years. They were really, like the formula was off and they were smelling strangely. This one was the only one that I kept. Yeah, it still smells okay. And yeah, and the formula still seems all right. So the other ones, I remember they were really kind of dried out, but this one still seems pretty smooth. So this one is number 23. It's a really pretty peachy pink with a slight metallic shift there. Yeah, so they have 4 shades altogether in these blush sticks. They have number 20 through number 24. And like I said, this one is number 23. I think if I were to get another blush stick, which I'm really tempted by because I do like these, I would get number 20. It's more nude. The others all have like a peachy pink, you know, kind of shift to them, but this nude version is really nice. I remember having that and I decluttered that one. So I may pick that one up as well. But that is blush number 23. This guy, I don't even think I told you the name of this one that I dropped and it is now broken. This is a eyeshadow and blush palette in 957 Tendresse. And these are some beautiful blushes. This one actually is really, really gorgeous. Again, we've got the face palette. I've got this blush up here. And then let's go through all of my single blushes here. So these two are limited edition. They may still be around because this was last winter. So these were the snowflake ones. This one is the coral one, Coral Givray. My pronunciation, I'm so sorry. So sorry. And then this one is Rose Polaire. And I recall one working much better than the other when I tried these out. I think the rose one was pressed really hard and no, actually that seems fine. Maybe I'm misremembering. That's the rose. And then here is the coral one. The rose and the coral. So those are the 2 snowflake blushes. Yeah, I don't see that on the Chanel site anymore. So those are gone, limited edition. And then here is the Jardin Imaginaire in gold and peach. And I really liked this duo. So they have 2 versions of this. They have this shade, which is gold and peach. And then the one I did not get is called Light and Berry, but that looked like it would be a little bit too deep for my skin tone. Let me do swatches of this one. There's the highlight and there's the blush. Yeah, very nice. The highlight is very, very gold. But the blush is very pretty. Oh, I am such a liar. I did get the Light and Berry one. Wow, I did not remember at all. But yeah, it is too deep for my skin tone. Here, I'll do swatches. But this blush is a really beautiful berry shade. It's just dark for me. And then the highlight is like a shifty pink. It's just not a highlighter that I would wear that often. But yeah, I remember getting this because I thought, oh, maybe I could pull it off. But it's a little bit deep for me. And then another limited edition one that is still available. This is the Camellia Futura, the Powder Blush Trio. And I liked this blush, but I remember talking about this when I talked about the whole collection, is that it's like a very matte blush. And, you know, I just like blushes with a little bit of glow. So if you like a matte blush, this is very, very nice. And you can kind of customize like how warm you want the blush. You can kind of put your brush over here by the orange, or if you want a little bit cooler tone, you can focus it down here by the pink. But because the rest of the collection, the eyeshadow palette, the highlighter, the liquid highlighter that came out with this collection, those are all very glowy and shimmery. I can see why they made the blush like a little bit more matte. You could always add like the highlighter on top to make it a little bit more glowy. But personally, I just wish like there was a little bit more of like a soft satin sheen to this blush. But the color is very pretty. I'll do a swatch of like all 3 of the shades together. It's kind of like a nice like watermelon punch shade. And then I have all the cream to powder blushes, which you guys know I absolutely love. These came out last year and I felt like Chanel really made it up to us because they reformulated their regular, like their baked powder blushes a gazillion years ago at this point, and I just don't like the reformulation. They reformulated again since then, and most people are like, it just doesn't feel that different. So if you don't like the other version, you're not gonna like this version. So I actually haven't gotten any of those like reformulated baked blushes, but I may like just dabble back in there and kind of get rid of the other ones, but I'll talk about those in a second. So I've got the Rose Radiant, the Granat Profonde, the Beige Eclatant, Rose Ardent, and then the Rouge Franc, which is such a great appley red. In fact, I think I'm gonna put this on. You can see that I use it just every once in a while, and I love it every time I do use it. So, but now that it's spring, summertime, I feel like it's perfect. So I'm just gonna tap on gently. It's always a little scary at first, but you just have to keep blending. And this product does blend out beautifully. There, I love this formula so much. Works well with fingers, works well with a brush, works well over powder, under powder, over other cream products. Like it's so good. It's so, so good. Okay, so that is Rouge Franc. I feel like I've talked about those blushes a lot, so I'm gonna move on. Let's talk about the blushes that are limited edition. I don't believe you can get any of these. And I just feel like these should be part of the regular line. I don't, I say that a lot, but I don't understand why they would not make, here, let me show you my favorite one. I've had this one forever, and I just will never give it up. But the Tweed blushes. So this one is Tweed Beige, and it's so fantastic. I mean, I love Tweed. Absolutely love Tweed. Tweed from anywhere. Chanel Tweed, of course, is so special. And it's such a staple of the fashion house that I don't understand why they wouldn't make this like a staple in their blushes. They do also have those Tweed eyeshadow quads. Can we make that just part of the regular line? Yeah, I love this so much. It did have gold overspray, which you could only see like in the corners and stuff, but I love it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they don't make this regular, but this is the beige, and it just has the most beautiful, soft satin sheen. It's gorgeous. I do also have Tweed Pink. This is a really pretty, soft, bright, like pastel pink. And then I have the Tweed Cherry Blossom, which had silver overspray. There's the Cherry Blossom. Yeah, whenever these Tweed blushes come out, I always get them. Oh, I don't even care if it's like a color that I'm gonna use, not gonna use. I just love the texture of it. It's so good. I do also have this limited edition. It's like a blush highlighter hybrid. I keep it with my blushes because it is so pink, but it's got a really strong, subtle silver to it. And this one is the Fantasy de Chanel, the illuminating blush powder, and it is very, very shiny. And I only have 3 of these, regular blushes from Chanel. This is from their old formula. This is in the shade Golden Sun, which is my all-time favorite. This is definitely a shade you are going to have to rip out of my dead cold hands. But there is Golden Sun. It's the most perfect nude. And I think like we're always trying to find a good dupe for this, and it's just impossible because it has just a little bit of shimmer in there. And the nude is so pretty. It's like just this really rich kind of like cocoa with a hint of peach. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. That's Golden Sun. And then I have Alizane and Reflex. And Alizane, this is from the old formula too, because I remember I got this when it was part of, one of those like holiday collections or whatever. So here is Alizane. This formula was so smooth. Look at that. This one has just a little bit more rose in it than the Golden Sun. And then this Reflex, I believe this is old too. So I got rid of all of the new formula ones because I just wasn't going to use it. And I was done like comparing back and forth. I was like, forget it. I'm done with it. So this is Reflex from the previous version. Oh, it's just perfect, like peach with the gold. And I think this color like kind of came and went, and yeah, so beautiful. It may be part of the regular line now. Let's see, they have rose bronze. No, Reflex is not part of the regular line, but I may try one of these blushes since they did reformulate it just to see. On their site, they have Le Tarot de Chanel. That's a matte powder blush. They have it's like a lilac and then a deeper peach. I did not get those. Neither of those colors really appealed to me. And then they do have the number 1 Day Chanel Lip and Cheek Balm. I actually was not the biggest fan of that product. I felt like, I don't know, it's very popular. I think this is a very unpopular opinion, but I just didn't like the way it worked up on my cheeks. I liked it as like a lip balm, but I think it was a little bit too tacky and like balmy for the cheeks. We talked about the stick, and then we did also talk about the eyeshadow and blush palette. Okay, so that is it for blushes. Let's move on to highlighters. Okay, let's start with the cream and liquid ones that I have. This has been a recent favorite of mine. This came out with the Camellia Futura collection. This is the Iridescent Illuminating Fluid in Halo. And I love using this and just kind of like tapping it onto my cheeks. This is a really heavy swatch, but if you just like use it lightly and just tap it on, it leaves just the most beautiful like hint of a glow. It's really, really gorgeous. I've used this for you recently a lot, so I'm going to put that away. And then I have 2 of the Balm Essentiel. I have Sculpting, which I think I've had, I don't know. I think I got this maybe when I was still living in New York. Is that possible? But I remember being confused by the name because it's called Sculpting. And so I thought it was going to be more of like a contour, but it's sculpting in the other way, like highlights. So it is like your standard balmy highlighter. It has a little bit of a sheen. It has a little bit of emollients to it. It is part of their regular line. It is not, you know, limited edition product. It's very, very pretty. And I think if you really like a subtle sheen with literally like no pigment, just a little bit of like iridescence, I think you would really like this. So that is Sculpting. And then my recent favorite is this Moonlight Kiss, which again, was this part of Camellia Futura? Or no, this was maybe before. This came out before that collection. But I love this product because it has a little bit more like pigment to it. There's like a little bit of peachiness to it, and then it kind of does like this pink shift, but it's also really great on the lips. It's almost like this glossy highlight for your lips. It makes your lips look so juicy, almost like foiled. And I love it. And it's just, yeah, it's really moisturizing on the lips. It's great on the cheeks too. It's a Balm Essentiel, so it does have that, you know, kind of wet balm look to it without it being too like sticky or tacky. So I do love that. And then I have a ton of their powders, although I have over the years gotten rid of a lot of the limited edition ones because again, you can't get them. They were just old. You know, they were just like stuck in my drawer. I wasn't even taking them out to like look at them and admire them. So the ones that I've kept, let me just show you. This one is, this is the Plissé. Whew, this one is so good. It's just simply an illuminating powder, but this formula, it's a baked gel formula. And my goodness, it is so smooth. And that tone, it's like slightly peach, champagne gold. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This is when I really get angry that Chanel does not bring back their limited edition stuff. This one is, one of the Lion ones. Do you guys remember this? This one is Or Rose. Very kind of similar velvety, smooth highlight. If you can tell, this one's like a little bit paler than the Plissé. The Plissé has a little bit more peach in there. And this guy, the Duo with the sequins, so gorgeous. This one, however, is a little bit more, I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit more chunky. So there's a little bit more like obvious glitter chunks in there. I don't know if you can see, like it'll look a little bit powdery in the swatch, but it's so beautiful. I just couldn't, that embossing, I was like, yes, so gorgeous. And then this one is, this is another one, the Camellia highlight. That, like, again, the Camellia is such a Chanel staple. Like, can we just make this just a regular thing? Oh my God, so beautiful. It's a little bit of a lower shine than the rest of these. You could probably tell in the pan, but it has a really beautiful peach tone to it. Love it. Love that whole like embossing, how it's so like 3D looking. And then this one is, oh, the Camellia de Chanel. This one is another one you're gonna have to pry out of my dead cold hands. Is gorgeous. This one actually reminds me of the Plissé one, but the tone of this, it's a little bit less peach, a little bit more gold. Those are basically the 5 that I've kept over all of these years. I can't even remember like how old these 2 are especially. I mean, at least like 5, 6 years old at this time. Oh my God, they're so incredible though. Every time I do a declutter, I'm like, should I? I can't let go of those. And then I've got some of these big guys. So I've got Diamond Dust. And I actually really liked this one. It had a like kind of a shiftiness to it, like a pinky peach shifty tone to it. And that's not really a highlighter that I go for, but you know, when I got it on the cheek, it was actually not as, I don't know, gaudy as I thought it would be. It's really quite nice. And then I have this giant lion one in this really warm tone. I just really like the looks of this. The color, the shade of this is too deep for my skin tone, but I just really like it. I really like it. It's too light for a bronzer. It's also too shimmery for bronzer, but yeah, I think it's pretty. So I've held on to that. And then I do have this palette, which is relatively new with these 4 guys. And I've talked about this. I really like this, the baked gel powder formula I love, as you guys know, but there's only really one shade in here I can use as highlight, which is this guy. And then the rest are a little bit, like these 2 are too deep. And then this one just has a little bit too much pink in there, but it's too shimmery for just a blush. So while I really like the quality of this palette and the powders and everything, I just never really reach for it because it's really just this guy that I would go for, which I will swatch. Yeah, that's the only one that works for me. So anyway, I like that palette. I just don't use it very often. And then this guy is the same subscriber that sent me that beautiful pressed powder. She also sent me this, and this, I believe, you can actually see, was only available in Japan. And this is the Oversized Healthy Glow Highlighting Powder in Tender Pink. Look at that. I haven't even swatched it, but I'm gonna swatch it for you guys right now. It's almost like just a very, very pigmented pressed powder, but there's like a little bit of an interesting tone to it. And it's not an overt sort of metallic sheen, but there's like a sheen to it. Sorry, I think it's too subtle for you guys to even see. But it's just really, really pretty. And I love that like embossing on there. It almost looks like animal skin. Okay, so there's a few highlighters listed on the Chanel site that I don't have. Most of them I do have, and I've talked about. The only one, or there's 2. The highlighting powder, this is part of the regular line. And I remember when it first came out, I ran out and I got them. I think at first no one was sure whether or not they were going to be limited edition. So I was like, let me run out and get them. I did not like that highlighting powder. It was chunky. It was chunky. And I don't think that they've reformulated it since they released it. There's 3 colors and they're okay. But in terms of like Chanel highlighters, like we know what they can do. And I was like, that wasn't it. That was not like my idea of like a great like Chanel highlighter. It was a little disappointing. So I don't really like those. Let's see, we talked about this guy. They do also have like sheer healthy glow highlighting fluids. They have 2 shades. Again, I've had those. I've decluttered them because they're liquid products. They've gone off. And then they do have the LeBlanc Rosy Light Drops. I don't know. It's like all kind of the same thing. It's a sheer liquid highlighter, has a subtle rosy tint. It's just part of the LeBlanc line. So that is still available. So I never got that because I had the other ones, the sheer healthy glow highlighting fluid. I had that in the Pearly Glow. And while the LeBlanc one was pinker, I liked kind of the more nude shade of the healthy fluid. So I never really, I never got the LeBlanc, and I'm not that interested in that. And then there's one highlighting powder, which I didn't pick up. This is the Lumière de l'Océan. So I think this is, I don't know, inspired by the ocean maybe, but it's so white and cool toned. I just knew that I would never wear. this particular highlighter. Oh, and it looks like it's sold out. So I do think that was limited edition. That's probably gone forever. And that's it. All the other highlighters I have talked about. So I actually haven't even applied a highlighter doing all this chit-chatting. Should we use one of these highlighters that is not existent anymore? Maybe the Camellia one? Or maybe the Plissé? Let's use the Camellia one. I feel like when I do dabble in one of the limited edition highlighters, it's the Plissé one. So let's use the Camellia one. I'm gonna use my Sonia G Fan A brush. This highlight is just, do you see that? It is like no joke. And I just ran this brush in here. Chanel, can we please do this formula? Give us a different embossing if you have to. But oh my goodness, it's so funny. I've been getting back into like using highlighters again. I think it's the season. And I think, you know, a lot of companies are coming out with really beautiful highlighters. And I'm like, oh yes, like look how shiny this is. Like we're back, you know, 6-7 years ago when highlighters were really shiny. It's like, and I forget. And then when I use one of these older highlighters when they were super shiny, I'm like, oh wow, the highlighters today are definitely much more subtle than what we were doing a while ago when I like first started my channel. Good golly, that's a lot of shine. Yeah, I mean, I do think highlighters, it was where Chanel really, really did some good stuff. So I do hope they come out with more of these like Camellia formula ones. So good. Okay, let's move on to brows. So I only have this new brow pencil from them. This is the Microfine Defining Eyebrow Pencil, and I have it in 162 Brun Taupe. They do also have the Brow Wax and Brow Powder Duo, which I've since decluttered because again, it's like a cream product and it was just getting so disgusting, but I really liked that Brow Wax and Brow Powder Duo. I used shade, I believe, dark. Is it just the 3 shades? Yeah, there's light, medium, and dark, and I used dark, and it was really nice. It was like a nice little kit to have. It had like little tweezers, this little spoolie. I just really liked having that at hand. That is actually something I may pick up again. And then they have a sculpting eyebrow pencil. I think since I have this, I don't really need that, but that's like a pencil that you sharpen and it's got a spoolie on the other side. And then they do have a defining longwear eyebrow pencil, and that's with the chisel tip. And then they have a longwear eyebrow gel. And then they have the Boy de Chanel eyebrow pencil, again, specifically designed for men. I don't know why that would be different. But you know what's interesting? You guys know how much I love an eyebrow gel, and I have never tried the Chanel longwear eyebrow gel. Never. They have clear, they have brun, which is the dark brown, and then they have blonde. Obviously, I think I would try the brun or the clear one, the transparent one. But can you believe I've never tried the Chanel eyebrow gel? It's so weird. My list for my next Chanel haul is quite a long one, But anyway, since we have this Microfine pencil, I'm going to use this. And you know, when it comes to eyebrow pencils, I think as long as it's not too soft where you feel like you'll draw like too harsh of a line too quickly or too easily, as long as it's not too soft and if you find a color that you like, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to eyebrow pencils. There really isn't, I don't know, anything terribly special that needs to happen for me to enjoy or use an eyebrow pencil. When it comes to eyebrow gels and things like that, I have a lot more opinions. Like it can't be too wet, it can't be too dark. I don't want like, you know, like shoe polish eyebrows too quickly. So yeah, when it comes to pencils, you know, I pretty much like them all so long as they're not too soft or for my personal taste, like not too warm in color. But that's a nice eyebrow pencil. No complaints there. All right, eyeshadows. So let's take a look at what is available online. So they do have the Stilo Ombre at Contour. I love these chubby pencils. I have since decluttered all of mine because they were just old. They were drying out, but I really, really love these chubby pencils. And I think since I first started purchasing them, I do think they've been reformulated. So I definitely want to pick up some of these. They also have a lot of kind of like funky colors, but they have like a satin golden aqua green shade, a Vert Titanium, which I think is really pretty. They have Dream Leaf, which is this shimmery acid green shade, but Contour Clair, which is number 12. I remember I had that. I loved that shade. I think I'll pick that one up. But it's a really great, like you can definitely line your eyes with it, but if you just want to line and color it a little bit and smudge it out, so you just have like a light, like not all over, like up to your eyebrow eyeshadow look, but just something like close to your lash line. It's a really nice, easy product to use. And it does set down. So you do, have to like blend it out pretty quickly. But I really love this product. I really love this product. And I definitely want to pick up at least one. Then they've got those eyeshadow and blush palettes, which we've talked about, the ones with the 4. And then we've got the, the quads, which I'll show you what I have. They have, obviously a bunch of different shades. They have the Le Beige, the Healthy Glow Natural Eyeshadow Palettes. I have decluttered all of mine. I like these palettes. I don't love them. I don't think that there's anything terribly special with these. They're meant to be basic. They're part of the Le Beige line, so they're meant to be kind of like neutral or whatever and have kind of like a tight color story. And they're quints, so it's nice. You get like one more shadow in here versus the quads, but they're okay. They're okay. So I don't feel like I need to run out and like replace anything that I've decluttered. Let's see, we've got more limited edition quads. We have this Coral Treasure. I'm not going to be picking that up. It's just too pinky orangey for me. It's also sold out, so that's fine. And then they have the Ombre Essentiel, the multi-use long-wearing eyeshadow. You guys know I love those, so I'll show you which ones I have. And then they have the long-wear liquid eyeshadow. Those I actually decluttered, all of those. I did not have any luck with these long-wear liquid shadows. They just went down patchy. Like all the different shades I've tried, they've come out with like limited edition ones with some collections, tried those. They just never work. So I've decluttered all of those. Yeah, and then the latest Camellia Futura Utopia quad, which I do also have. Okay, so let me show you what I have. Do you know what they've completely gotten rid of? Sorry that I'm realizing that I love. Were they, I feel like they were called the Ombre Essentiel also. Am I losing my mind? They were the ones in the tub, in the little jar. Do you remember they had New Moon? I had to declutter it. Mine were just so dry and I was like, I just can't. They're not available anymore. But I thought they were going to come out with new shades and they never did. And I love, love, love those eyeshadows. Let me see if they put them elsewhere. It's not going to be under eyeliner, is it? Oh, what a bummer. I love those. They also had like Scintillate. Was that the name of it? Scintillate, New Moon. Oh my God, I had so many of those. I loved those shadows. I'm a sucker for like little potted things and those were so good. But I'm sure you guys remember New Moon. Oh, that was so good. I can't believe they got rid of all of those. Chanel, please bring that back. Please bring that whole line back. Okay, let me show you what I have and we'll figure out what I'm going to put on today. So the Ombre Essentiel, I have Bruntalpa, which, as you guys know, is my all-time favorite single shadow. Here it is. And it even looks really well loved. This is so good. It's so, so good. It's like, if I could only take one eyeshadow, one single eyeshadow with me, this would be the one. And I do also have it in that light green. It's the Jade Facette. And this is gorgeous also. So, so pretty for the spring, summer. And I think, pastel eyeshadows are in for this season. I know, not for everyone, but that's a pretty option if you're thinking about dabbling in that trend. And then, the Pêche Glacé. So beautiful. They really outdid themselves with this formula and with the shade range. But this formula, I think these are called long wear. Yeah, multi-use long wearing eyeshadow. Very long wearing. Very, very long wearing. I'm always surprised when I go to take off my makeup at the end of the day. I'm like, oh, it's like no fading, nothing. It doesn't look like I put it on like 8-10 hours ago. It looks phenomenal. So definitely long wear. And then I did save, I don't know why I love these so much. These are the Ombre Premier. Oh, is that what those were called? The jarred ones, Ombre Premiers? Maybe. But I kept 3 from that Lion collection. I mean, how old is this collection? Like 5 years old? But this is the Verleme. So it's like this gold, green, sooty color. Oh my God, so beautiful. And then the copper one, this is the Pkwy Leme. This was such a good collection. And then here is not from either collection, but this is an Ombre Premier. So I think this is discontinued and the Ombre Essentials took this place. But this is the shade Bronze Antique. And I got this at the Chanel Beauty Boutique down in Soho. It was on the second floor. It was on one of my visits back after moving here to Vegas. And I had never seen this particular shade. And I got this, and I think they like discontinued this whole line. So anyway, I really like this shade. It's very, very pretty. It goes really nicely with like a smoky, like a black liner, like smoked out. So pretty. So those are the single shadows that I have. And let me show you the tweed quads that I have. I mean, in the tweed little dust bags, and they were all different. It was like coordinated with the shades. I mean, so good, so good. I don't know why they don't make this part of the regular line, because these would sell every time these came into stock. These would sell out. So I have tweed Pourpre. This is number 2. This is the one that's like the deep purpley brown shades, and the tweed is just embossed texture. But I found the tweed eyeshadow formulas, even though they look to be very similar, like to the other baked quads, I felt like these were softer. I don't know if you had that experience, if you guys had these tweed quads, but here is a tweed fauve, F-A-U-V-E. So it's kind of like a peachy, warm toned one. And here, well, you can tell this one's my favorite. I lost the plastic cover. I've lost one of the little sponge tip applicators, but this one is the tweed Brun et Rose. So this was like basically neutral browns, and then this really pretty, shimmery, very light, like ballet pink. This guy is tweed Couvray. So this is like the copper toned one. So pretty. This was my second favorite. This, oh my gosh, this was part of that same collection with that highlighter with the sequins. I don't know, can you guys see the sequins in there? But I also just loved this color story. This is so up my alley. I could use these two for an everyday and then add, you know, a little drama with these shadows. But this was fantastic. This was one of those, like, it's limited edition. I get it, the embossing, all of that or whatever, but that color story is just so good. It's so, so good. That's why I've kept it. And then what else did I hold on to? Oh, here's the Utopia. So this is the one that came out with the Camellia Futura collection. Very pretty, very different for me, but I really, really liked the color story, and I really liked the option of this guy down here, which would give you an everyday kind of, you know, plain Jane kind of eyeshadow look. And then you could just like amp it up with one of these, like you didn't have to get super crazy. But yeah, I just really liked this particular color story. Oh, and this quad, this is the Mediterranean one. Baked gel powder, and then look at this color story. It's so rich and summery and sultry. This eyeshadow palette, I could not talk enough about, and it sold out so quickly, and I was like, Michelle, shut up about it. No one else can get it, but it's so beautiful, so beautiful. So yeah, definitely gonna be holding on to that one for a long time. And then this one, which is actually available. This is the Clair Obscure eyeshadow quad, but this is such a great eyeshadow quad. I may need to get another one of this because I do feel like the last time I used it, the texture felt a little bit almost gummy, like it wasn't blending out the way I remembered it. So it may just be getting on in its ears. But this is definitely a palette, you know, that I would travel with, that I would put in my everyday bag or whatever. It's just such a good standard eyeshadow palette. And they're all mattes, like just really basic. I love it. Speaking of, I think I will use this Clair Obscure, mainly just to see, you know, if it's still working properly. I'm gonna use my Sonia G T5 brush. I'm gonna go into this light kind of cool tone taupe shade up here. Oh, actually, it's not that bad. That actually looks pretty nice. pretty nice. Maybe it was a different shade I was using. Or sometimes you never know. Sometimes it's the brush. Sometimes if I'm putting it over something that it doesn't like. But yeah, but this is working out pretty well. This is such a great one and done shadow. Soft matte, taupe, neutral. And then I think I'm gonna use, because I kind of forgot I had this, is the Pêche Glacé, the Ombre Essentiel. I'm just gonna use the same brush and just layer that the inner corner here and blend it towards the center. Oh, that's pretty. Gives my lids a little life there. So those are all of my eyeshadows, the eyeshadows that Chanel has available. I'm still kind of, oh no, I forgot about one eyeshadow. Hold on. This guy. They don't even have these anymore. These are, what are these called? The Ombre Premier Libre. And I kept shade 402. So these basically have this sponge tip applicator and it's just like powder in there. So it's interesting. I remember like it just takes a little bit of kind of getting used to. So I was kind of like swiping this on and hoping I could just do all the work with the sponge tip applicator, which doesn't really work. I think it works best if you kind of use this like as if it was a liquid shadow and then either use your finger or brush to kind of blend it out. But they had come out with quite a few of these and I don't know, I wasn't under the impression these were limited edition. I guess they were because yeah, these are nowhere to be found anymore, but I did keep this one. And now that I'm used to using it, it's fine. But yeah, I didn't really like them when I first got them. Okay, so in terms of eyeliner, we talked about those chubby pencils, the Stilo Ombre Contour, which I definitely want to get. They also have the Stilo U waterproof. I used to have a bunch of these eyeliners. I got rid of all of them, I think because they were starting to crack and they were drying out because they're the kind that you twist up. They're not the kind that you sharpen. So I really enjoyed them. I remember them like not budging. Like once they sat down, they were down. They were down for the count. So maybe I will get one or two of those because they were really good, but I have a lot of eyeliners and you know, when it comes to eyeliners, I have a lot of favorites, like the new Prada lines ones. So I don't really, it's not like when I think of Chanel, I think of eyeliners. So I may pass on those, but I do want to get the chubby pencils. And then they do have an intense eye pencil. That's their kohl pencil. That's the one that you sharpen. They have a precision eye definer, which, is that a gel? Let's see. Plant oils and waxes add softness to the formula. So interesting. So this is not like a gel eyeliner. I think the waterproof one is. Built-in applicator. Yeah, so it's got a brush at one end, and then this looks like you sharpen it as well. So interesting. I've never tried that one. They have a signature de Chanel. It's an intense longwear eyeliner pen. I don't really use like liquid eyeliner, so I'm not really tempted by that. The liquid eyeliner high precision longwear. I am not tempted by that either. And then they have the Longwear Intense Cream Eyeliner, and that's the eyeliner that comes in a pot. I'm not really that industrious when it comes to eyeliner. Like I just want a pencil. So I think I'll get the chubby ones, and then maybe I'll just play around with the other ones when I go in store. Like the waterproof one, the kohl one, because I really do like kohl pencils, and then the Precision Eye Definer, which looks like maybe a little bit of a hybrid of both. Okay, so those are Chanel eyeliners. And then mascaras. I don't have any of their mascaras either. I remember when I first started my channel, I started using their Volume de Chanel and I really liked it. I wasn't like a heavy mascara wearer and I was like, oh, I like this. And then I realized after trying a ton of other mascaras that actually wasn't the kind of mascara that I liked. I liked ones that were more lengthening and separating. And so I never went back to the Volume de Chanel except when they give me samples. So there was one that I did start using that I really liked, which is the Inimitable Waterproof Mascara. And that's their mascara for volume, length, and curl, and separation. That is like all the things that I love. And yeah, I've used that and I've since decluttered it. But if I were to get another mascara from Chanel, it would be that one. Yeah, and then they have a Le Volume Revolution Extreme Volume. Not really for me. It has a 3D printed brush. Very exciting. They also have the Noir Allure Mascara, which I am tempted by because that brush, it's like a bristly plastic tip brush. I feel like that could work for me. That usually means it's like a separating, lengthening mascara instead of like the fluffy, like pine cone kind of brush. I may try Noir Allure, and I may get the Inimitable waterproof. But yeah, I was actually surprised that I had no Chanel mascaras at all, like not even as like backups. None open, no backups. I was like, okay. Okay, so we did eyeliner, we did mascara, we did eyeshadow, brows. All right, let's move to lips. I have a lot of Chanel lippies. Okay, let's just get the lip liners out of the way. So I've got Nude Brun and also Brun Carmine. And I remember picking these up when they basically like reformulated these, came back out with them. And they're nice, they're very nice. I really like the Nude Brun. The Brun Carmine is a color I just don't use very often. It's like a deep red. But the Nude Brun is a great nude shade. These stay put. Like I have no complaints about these lip liners at all. They go on really easy. They stay put. They keep like lip color in. They're really lovely. They're really lovely. And they do have a brush on one side if you want to like blend it in. So those are the lip liners. And then let's go through what they have on their site. So the Le Rouge Duo Ultra Tenue. These are the Ultra Wear liquid lip colors. So this is the lip product that you put down the pigment, you let that set, and then you put the clear gloss that's on the other side. You put that down and then your lip color does not budge. I have tried this, and I even tried this on a live a gazillion years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I first came across this formula. And I did like a whole wear test live where I ate pizza, like greasy pizza, and the lip color did not move. So these are quite magical. I used to have, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 different shades. I've gotten rid of them because they are lip products and they were just old. They were old, they were gooey, kind of gross. So I just kind of got rid of all of them. And I would really like to replace at least one, just get like a nice basic nude color or something really, I don't know, shall we say bright? Like a color that you really don't want it to fade or bleed or smudge at all, which for me is like a really bright color. So I may get something really, really bright, like bright raspberry or something. But yeah, they have a lot of really nice nude colors, and they just came out with, I don't know about just, but they recently came out with 5 new nude shades. So I should definitely pick up some of those. And then they have the Rouge Allure Lac. These are the Ultra Wear Shine Liquid Lip Color. And I had a shade that I have since decluttered because it was old. And it did come out with, yeah, it's not here. It did come out with a collection, and it was this kind of foily shade. Yeah, and they don't have it anymore. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really, really pretty. It was really pretty, and I really liked the formula. It was quite nice, but I never actually purchased one from like just their regular line, so I would like to take a look at those. The formula was really comfortable. And then the Rouge Allure Velvet La Pearl. This is limited edition, so it's a luminous matte lip color. I am not the biggest fan of matte lipsticks. I'll wear them on occasion, and they have gotten very, very comfortable, like these more recent modern formulations of lip colors, much more comfortable than even like say 6, 7 years ago. But I just don't really reach for them. So I never even thought to get these. So that's fine. I'll pass on those. Rouge Coco Flash. You guys know I cannot get enough. I have decluttered quite a few of them. I would get every single like limited edition version just because I love the formula of these Rouge Coco Flashes so much. But I have, let's see, I have at least 3 or 4 left. I definitely have Boy because I just brought that to LA when I went, and it was so funny. I pulled out, or no, Jennifer pulled out Boy. And I was like, are you putting on Rouge Coco Flash and Boy? She was like, maybe. I was like, and I pulled it out of my bag. It was like both like the lip colors that we decided to put in our bags for that day. It was the same. Okay, so I have 272 Rosa and 270 Peachy. This is from the Camellia Futura collection. Am I remembering that correctly? So this is Peachy, which actually should just be called Goldie because it is such a strong gold foil. And then Rosa is the purple one. So very pretty. The formula, fantastic. Okay, so here is Boy. There's Boy swatched right there. It's just such a great everyday nude. Feels great. It's not like a high commitment lip color. It has that little bit of that Rouge Coco Flash sheen. So gorgeous. And then I have Chicness, which is it's fairly similar. It is a little bit deeper than Boy, and I would say just a touch warmer, like a little bit more orange in there. And then here is Live, or Live, Live, and this is just a really pretty, almost like a lip topper. It'll just give you like a little rosiness to your lips. And then this shade is the shade that the makeup artist in Milan used when I wanted a nude lip. And I was like, oh, how interesting. So this is Phenomenon, and it's like this berry shade. So she paired this with a really cool toned lip liner, and it just worked. It just worked. It did end up looking like I had on the deeper side, but like a nude lip on. So those are all of my Rouge Coco Flashes. And like I said, I used to have so many of them, but I just decluttered them because they were, limited edition. They're lip products, so they're definitely getting on. And yeah, do I regret it? Getting rid of those? Maybe. Maybe. And then it's a little confusing, but they have like a ton of different listings for their Rouge Allure L'Extrait. Again, I'm sure I'm slaughtering that, but that is their high intensity lip color. So I do have one of the Rouge Allure L'Extrait, and it's these slim profile refillable lipsticks, very, very highly pigmented. And I did end up getting shade number 812 Beige Brute, and I was really impressed with the pigmentation. Like that's just, here, I'll do it again. This is just one swipe. Really, really highly pigmented. This color is quite nice. It's a little bit on the warmer side, so it's like, has a little bit of a peachy tinge to it, but that is very nice. That's the only one I got. And then all of the other lip products that I have from Chanel are these Rouge Allure. And I got it when they came out with like the whole nude range. And I really like this Rouge Allure lipstick because it's just a staple kind of cream lipstick. It's not matte, it's not super glowy, it's not meant to be shiny or like super hydrating, although I think it is. But they came out with like all of these nude shades. So 6 nude shades. And this was like a few years ago at this point. So let me do swatches of all of these. Okay, it looks like the 2 deepest shades I have from these 6 is actually not available online anymore. And they have 2 other ones that I don't have. So I don't know if they were switched out or whatever. But anyway, this one is 196, 199, 206, 209, and then I have 214 and 215, and what's listed online is 211 and 212. I don't have those. But yeah, I just love this whole shade range, and I'm so glad I'm doing this video because I'm like rediscovering Chanel products that I love and that I just haven't reached for, that I've completely forgot about. So I'm definitely going to be pulling this out. I remember Illusion was my favorite when I got it because that's just, it's like a very light, basic nude that I could wear every day. But this shade number 214, it has a little bit of gold shimmer in there, just really, really pretty if I wanted like a dramatic lip. So lovely. And I really do love the Rouge Allure formula. It's really, really comfortable. Okay, and the last lip type that I have are the Rouge Coco Bombs. So I have a bunch of these. And I've even bought backups of some that I know were going to be discontinued because they were limited edition. And I do have one in just the black packaging. This I got a while ago, but this is just the Rouge Coco Balm that's clear. So it's just, lip balm. And then all these tinted ones, oh my God, they're so good. I basically fell in love with the Keep Cool and the Chilling Pink. Again, I cannot remember which collection that came out with, but I ordered them. And I think I even thought maybe they were Rouge Coco Flashes, but they're Rouge Coco Bombs. And I absolutely love them. So these balms, I would say, are a little bit thicker in formula than the Rouge Coco Flashes. The Rouge Coco Flash formula feels like it just sort of like melts onto your skin, like really buttery, like they just sort of melt, where the balm stays a little bit stiffer, a little bit thicker, longer. So I do have Dreamy White, which is, it is pretty much like clear, except there is just the most subtle kind of milkiness to it. And I really like a milky lip gloss situation. So that, yeah, I don't even know if that is still available. Let me actually pull it up on the site here. Oh yes, so Dreamy White is still available. And these are actually called Rouge Coco Balm Satin. I don't think I ever realized that because it's not on the label. Okay, so the Rouge Coco Balm is just the plain one in the black packaging, and these that are tinted in the white packaging, Rouge Coco Balm Satin. I think all the ones I have are actually limited edition and not available except for one. Okay, so Dreamy White available. And then Chilling Pink is also available. And this was one of the ones that I fell in love with. And this is the one that I have a backup of because I thought this was limited edition, which it could still be. It could still be, we don't know. But I just love the subtle tint that it has. I don't know if any of these swatches are going to be helpful, but there's Chilling Pink, but it just gives your lips like a really beautiful, like subtle kind of like highlight effect to your lips. So that's Chilling Pink. And then that did come out when they came out with Keep Cool, and Keep Cool is much cooler. This is actually my backup. Hold on, let me not swatch that one. I have two of those. Here's the one that I've used. So Keep Cool. This one I really, really love. I was hoping if they were going to keep one that this was going to be it. But this has a cooler tint to it. Slightly like cocoa brown. And then the other two I got were part of a recent collection. So Honey Bliss, which is this guy. It has like a peach tint to it, much more pigmentation than the others. Gold flecks in there. And then this Charming Lilac I also picked up. Yeah, and people were kind of like wondering like if they got this, did they also need that Rosa color in the Rouge Coco Flash? The Rosa is much more sheer and has much more, I don't know, like disco vibes going on than the Charming Lilac. So let me actually put some lips on. I also realized I didn't put on any eyeliner or mascara on because I didn't have any from Chanel, but I think that's okay. I think that's okay. We're just playing. But I am going to use my Nude Brun lip liner. Then I'm going to use that Rouge Allure in Illusion since I am reminded of it. It's number 206. Yeah, I gotta use this lip combo more. It's so good. Such a nice nude. You guys, I look different because I'm filming this on a different day, but I realized while I was editing this video that I completely forgot, how dare I completely forgot about the Rouge Coco glosses. I love these glosses, you guys know, and I was actually just putting this on for a different video. I was vlogging and I put this on and I was like, did I not talk about this in my video? I think I was just delirious. I think I filmed for like 2.5 hours. So I think I just forgot about these glosses, but you guys know how much I love these glosses, how I just love the texture. I love the shades. I just love everything about these. The Rose Naif, the 804, is my absolute favorite because it's what I have on my lips today. So it just has like a little hint of milkiness. And then when you pair this with a contouring type of lip liner, wow, your lips look really juicy, really, really plump. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. So I have 804 and I also have 726, which is icing. And I remember I went to the Chanel Beauty Boutique at Caesars, which is no longer there, very bummed. And I was going to get a backup of this. I was like, I need another 804. And they're like, we're sold out. And then I was like, okay. It's like, I'll get the closest one, and I got this one, which I like as well, but it's just a little bit milkier. This one I feel like is just a little bit more universal. I can wear this like as a topper. You know, you can do all the same things with this, but this one, you can tell, is just a little bit whiter, a little bit milkier. The 804 is just really magical. So I was poking around on the site, and there is a shade that I really need to get. So I used to have like, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 of these glosses, and I've decluttered down to these, and these are actually fairly new because, you know, lip gloss, they just get kind of gross, especially over time if you've put them in your bag and, you know, whatever. Anyway, you've been like layering it over lipstick. So I got rid of a lot of my older lip glosses. A lot of them were discontinued, and I'm down to these two, but I was just on the Chanel site, and I'll flash a picture of it here, but this is a shade that I definitely want to get because it's a little bit more nude, and it has like some gold like shimmer in there. Neither of these have any shimmer. These are both just like a cream, like solid color. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pick that up too. Yeah, this Chanel basket of mine is growing and growing. But anyway, I just wanted to mention those glosses because so important. Again, how dare I forget these glosses? Anyway, back to the video. Well, all right, guys, that, I feel like I've been talking forever, but that is my entire Chanel collection, my thoughts on my entire Chanel collection, going through everything Chanel has to offer, at least off of their site. And I'm definitely going to be making a visit, a pilgrimage, if you will, to the Chanel Beauty Boutique in downtown Summerlin. If that's not open yet, then I'll just hit one of the counters and like fill in my collection, because I definitely need a foundation. There's a lot of things that I mentioned that I would like to try or like replace that I have decluttered lately. So anyway, stay tuned for that. If you're into Chanel makeup, I'll definitely be doing a haul soon. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.